Welcome back to session 3. Have you become an appointment setting machine? How many appointments did you book last week? We know, again, whatever you focus on the most expands. Did you find yourself getting caught up in projects, getting organized, or did you push all that aside and simply focus on getting appointments? I hope it was the latter. Today, I want to make appointment setting even easier for you by showing you some simple strategies to generate even more referrals and ultimately create customers for life. Now, if you asked me, how do we do it? To me, the answer is very simple. If we want to generate more referrals and build long-standing relationships, customers for life, then we need to bring more value to the people we know than any other real estate professional today. You see, in every country around the world, consumers have options. There are portals they can go to. There is a real estate office on every corner in every city around the world. What we must do is become the trusted advisor, the trusted source, the person with the information they need staying top of mind, so if they or someone they know ever has any thoughts about buying or selling or renting a property, that you are top of mind. So the question is, how do we do that? So the first question is, what do we need to know about how the people in your database, your friends, your family, the people you know, what are they thinking about when it comes to real estate? I believe there's 3 stats that stand above all. The first, we know that the average person moves every 7 to 10 years. The average person moves every 7 to 10 years. Knowing that tells my mathematical mind that if I know 100 people and I take the worst case scenario every 10 years, that means that technically 10 of the 100 should be moving every year. Now, ask yourself this question. How many people do you have in your database? How many people are you in relationships with? How many people know you, know the company you work for, and know what you do for a living? How many people are you bringing value to? Well, if you're not converting 10% of your database, 10% of your customer base into a new transaction every year, it simply means you're not building a strong enough relationship or bringing them the value that they're looking for. Now, how do I know that statement to be true? There's a wonderful stat that's been around for a long time when consumers are asked the question, did you like your real estate professional? The good news is the answer is always yes. Now, of course, there's a few bad apples, but the vast majority of the customers say, I liked the experience, she or he was terrific. Then they asked the backup question, would you use the agent again? And 89% of the customers surveyed said, yes, I would use my Remax agent again. Here's where it gets interesting. The stat goes on to tell us that 7 to 10 years later, they find out that that same customer that liked you, that said they want to do business with you again, 89% said yes, but only 11% actually referred or used that same agent again. Now, you might be asking yourself, well, what happened? Did the agent leave the business? Did they just not reach out? Did they not think the way I think, building my business by design? The answer is very simple. They didn't stay in good communication. They didn't build a great relationship, and they simply didn't bring them enough value to stay top of mind as the real estate expert in their life. Another interesting stat you should be aware of. Because today we can find real estate and real estate agents online through all of these portals around the world, a new interesting number is that now 80% of home buyers and sellers select the first agent they meet when they start the process. So my wife and I decide we're going to sell. The first agent we meet, 80% of the consumers go with that agent. It is frightening, my friends, the number of agents that simply don't commit to do what it takes to build a great referral business, to build customers for life. And I know you, sitting here with me now, have made the choice, made the commitment to do whatever it takes to be that trusted advisor for the people that you know, so you become the single source for referrals and questions about buying and selling. And because of your connection with Remax agents all over the world, it doesn't matter if they want to buy or sell in your town, you can refer them to someone all over the world to make sure that their real estate needs are being satisfied. So let's talk about how to do it. So let's talk about what your goals should be with your database. Number one, you'll see in your notes, I would like you to begin adding 3 to 5 people every week that you're meeting into your database, whether that's a contact relationship management software, a CRM, Microsoft Outlook, Apple, your phone, I don't care, but we need to start adding these people into our database so we can begin to reach out, email, talk to, market to, build a relationship, and bring value. So in your notes, I want you to write down, I'm committed to adding 3 to 5 new people every week into my database. Remember, if you have 100 or 200 or 500 people in your database, every 10 years, people are moving, every 10 years. So the more people I have in the database that I'm nurturing, bringing value to, have an established, trusted advisor relationship with, 10% of them I have an opportunity every year to do business with. So the bigger my database and the more value I bring, the more referrals I generate. So number one goal is every week, I want to be adding more great people. The person that cuts your hair, the owner of your favorite restaurant in town, right? Every person you meet, whether they are a for sale by owner or an open listing or a prospect who calls on one of your listings, but you don't have the exact property they're looking for. We want to add them into our database to build trust and build that relationship to become their real estate professional. So that's number one. Number two, in your notes, write down, we want to speak with every person in our database every 60 to 90 days. So in a perfect world, every person you would talk to every 2 months. The bigger your database becomes, it might be 4 times a year. But think about it. If I want to have a relationship with you, if I really want to be top of mind and your trusted advisor, I can send you emails, which I'm going to recommend. I'm going to say, let's send them a mailer and a personal note. I could go to their Facebook page and connect with them there. But if I don't ever get some one-on-one dialogue, do I really have a relationship? Can I really be their trusted advisor? Now, the reality is we know the answer is no. So we've got to get on the phone and speak to these people and bring them value and ask them questions and talk about their life and talk about their goals and the things they want to accomplish and answer the question about how's the market and what's going on with housing and be that trusted source. So in your mind, every person in your database gets a call every 60 to 90 days. Number 3, to stay top of mind, we're going to be sending emails, we're going to be sending mailers, like I mentioned, and connecting via social media. So that's going to be another one of our goals inside our monthly plan, which I'll be sharing in a minute. Number 4, in our goals, you want to begin to track all of your activities with your database. So at the end of the year, you can say, I sent this many emails, I sent this many mailers, I made this many calls, I spoke to this many people, and I averaged 11% of my entire database into a referral or a transaction. Yes, you actually did better than the average. If you track and measure like we talked about in session number 1, you're empowered by the data to make good decisions about your business and not trust just your gut instincts or how you feel, but instead knowing quantifiably the numbers that are driving your success. That, my friends, is a business by design. Number 5, I wrote down again, remember the goal, 10% conversion on your annual list. So those 5 goals again, add 3 to 5 people every week. I want to speak to everyone in my database every 60 to 90 days. I want to stay top of mind through some good marketing, through email, through social media, and even some direct mail. I want to be tracking and measuring the activities so ultimately I can see, am I converting that 10%? Now, let's talk about the monthly marketing plan to get it all done. In your notes, you're going to see that there are 5 activities we want to have happen to build rapport, to create that relationship, and to ultimately bring value to all the people you know. You see, number 1, obviously at the top, is we want to be calling and speaking with at least 5 people every day. Now remember, the more people we talk to, the more appointments we generate, the more value we bring, the more we stay top of mind. That telephone conversation will always produce a better response than anything else you do. It's the one thing, by the way, that most people are afraid to do, so when you do it, you kind of remove and eliminate all those stats I mentioned earlier. 89% of consumers say they would list and work with their same agent, but only 11% do. I know why. They didn't pick up the phone. They didn't call their customers and check in and see how they're doing and wish them a happy new year and happy summer and back to school and all the other things that we can just check in like you would with any other friend or any other family member. Treating them that way and bringing them value on what's happening inside the marketplace, what's happening with home prices, how much their property is worth, or what just sold down the street, empowers them with information and reminds them that you, that Remax real estate professional, is the trusted advisor in their town for all of their real estate needs. The second thing you'll see inside your monthly plan is to move beyond just the phone calls to do what I call a simple coffee meeting. Now, a coffee could be a glass of wine, it could be a lunch meeting, it could be meeting socially after work. One of your goals is to meet with at least 3 of the people in your database every single week. Now, I know as I say that, you're going to say, Tom, that's easy. I'm already seeing a bunch of my friends. Well, our data actually shows that if you have 100 people in your database, you spend the vast majority of your time with the same 20. Think about it. The same 20 people that might be a family member, a close friend, a relative, some pals from work, some people that you've known for years. And the challenge is, if you just keep talking to that same 20, the 80 that are inside your database don't think of you as that great Remax agent. They're the ones that decide to list their house or do a transaction or send a referral, and it just happens to be with the next agent they met because you simply didn't take the relationship and go a little deeper. Now, I know as you sit here and say to me, 3 to 4 or 5 coffee meetings every week, that's a lot of coffee, that's a lot of lunches. Well, my belief is the more time you spend with your customers, finding out how they're doing, seeing what's happening in their world, and letting them know what you're doing in terms of your business and helping your customers, the more you strengthen that relationship and remain top of mind for them anytime they think of anyone who's buying and selling. And of course, when you're there, whether it's on the phone or face-to-face, you can always ask one of 3 questions. The easy ones you can ask is, hey, while I've got you on the phone, have you had any thoughts of selling? Try that one. Have you had any thoughts of selling? Now, you ask that question and they say, well, gosh, I've been thinking about it. Gosh, no, we love it here. Hey, you just sold me this place 2 years ago. We're staying here forever. Wonderful. I just got to ask, because we're always in a situation where we don't have enough great homes for sale. And when we do have one like yours, they sell very quickly. And you just ask that one question. Now, if I called you 60 days ago, I'm not going to ask you that question again. Maybe the next time I'm going to ask another question, something like, hey, when we spoke last time, you said you love your house and you're never moving. I'm curious, do you know anyone who's had any thoughts of selling? Do you know anyone who's had any thoughts of selling? And guess what? In that moment, you might just trigger, hey, my brother-in-law is moving here and they're going to need to buy a place. Could you help them? Hey, I have a friend at work who's getting a job transfer and they have to move and they're talking about selling their place. You want to trigger in them the opportunity for them to refer you a piece of business. Well, 60 to 90 days later, when you get them on the phone again, you can ask them the third question. You could say, remember a while back, I asked you if you knew anybody that had thought of selling and you told me about your brother-in-law, or you told me you didn't know anybody. I wanted to ask you, do you know anyone that's tried to sell in the past, maybe on their own or with a few other agents, and it just didn't work out? Do you know anyone that's tried to sell in the past and it didn't work out? And again, I'm looking to plant that seed, that opportunity for them to say, as a matter of fact, I do know someone down the street from us who tried to sell and they were on the market forever and it never sold. Now, the odds are they're not going to say, here is my friend's number or my neighbor's number, but maybe they will. But if you can simply identify the address of the person that was thinking about selling in the past, you could be a little aggressive and go knock on their door and show them some of the reasons why they should consider working with you and letting them know that you know a few people in the neighborhood, which creates a little more trust and rapport. Now, these kind of questions and more inside your workbook will simply empower you to have meaningful real estate conversations as you're making the phone calls, or the second part, going on those coffee or lunch meetings. The third thing we want to do inside your monthly marketing plan is to send a series of emails, no more than, say, one a week. Now, my company does a lot of email marketing, and we can tell you that there is one day above all days to send your email. If you were going to send 100 people in your database an email, the typical numbers show about 18.23% of all emails actually get opened up on their phone or on their desktop. So I send 100, but only 18.23 actually even open the email, which means the vast majority, nearly 80+% never see my marketing message. Well, what if I told you by sending that email on one specific day, the open rates actually go up to close to 25%? I don't know about you, but if I'm going to send the same 100 emails, if I can get on one day 25 people to respond and every other day only 18%, I'm going to send it on the right day. How about you? Well, I can tell you, after years of doing this, Tuesdays, for whatever reason, are simply the best day for you to send your emails. So every week, I want an email going to your entire database. Maybe week 1 is where you bring them up to speed on what's happened in the real estate market in the last 30 days. It could be as simple as, how many properties did your office sell in the last 3 or 4 weeks? You could tell them about what's happening with prices. You could talk about how many days it takes to sell the average home. You could talk about all the trends in terms of interest rates or pricing that's impacting the value of their home. Remember, the goal is to bring them value and ultimately be top of mind. If you go to the Marketing Center, you're going to find lots of samples of emails that you could be sending to your customers to bring them value, be the trusted advisor, and be the single source of someone that they can always turn to find out what's happening in real estate. In the second and third week, you could send them a just listed, a property you've recently put on the market, letting them know, here's a home I just listed for sale. Who do you know that'd like to live in this community? And just keeping them aware that you're listing properties is always a good idea. Maybe the following week, on Tuesdays, you're gonna send, here's 2 sales I've recently made, or the last sale that I've made, letting them know that you not only list property, but you're also getting them sold. And by continually sharing your transactions and your success, you're reminding them in a simple, easy way through email that you're a productive Remax agent and that you serve a lot of customers in the local marketplace. On the last week, you might want to consider just simply sending some community news. I've watched agents around the world talk about new restaurants in the area, or maybe something that's happening at the local school, things that are important to the people that are living in your community, things that they want to know that are happening, and you're giving them just a little taste of it from your perspective. Now, what I love about email is it's free, it's easy, and it's instantaneous. You send them and you begin to see open rates. You send them and people begin to see your marketing message. So if you're currently not collecting email addresses on all of your customers, you might want to add that into your list of things to do. I know today we live in a world where social media and social media marketing rules the day, and yet email is still the fastest, easiest, and most effective way to get your marketing message out. So the first one is calls. The second one is those coffee meetings. The third in your monthly marketing plan is going to be a weekly email on Tuesday where you're again bringing value to your database and keeping yourself top of mind. Number 4 on our list is we want to send some direct mail. Now, inside the Marketing Center, I've actually provided some of the very best direct mail postcards that a company I've affiliated with years ago called geographicfarm.com, where they teach and work with agents just like you to send direct mail and generate listing opportunities. Because of my relationship with Remax, you now have access to a number of those great postcards and more for you to begin sending direct mail to your customers, getting them to reach out to you and say, I'm interested in that property, or I want to know the value of my home, or congratulations on your most recent sale. We know by now doing all of these things combined, we're using what's called a multi-channel approach to marketing, a multi-channel approach. So instead of just this, or just this, or just face-to-face, or just direct mail, I'm doing all 4 in unison, having the customer say, wow, she sells a lot of houses, or he is clearly a successful Remax agent. The last one, number 5, is of course to connect with the people inside your database on the most relevant social media platforms available. When you look at the data today, it's Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. And don't forget about Snapchat, which is becoming hugely popular around the world. The goal is simply this. I want to stay top of mind and stay connected. So if the vast majority of my clients are on Instagram, I'm going to be taking all the same things that I would send via email, and I want to convert that into an Instagram photo as an example. I want to take the same data that I might be sharing about the market and put it on my Facebook page, just like I might take the listing that I just listed for sale or the sale that I just made and post those same things in those same channels. Now, it's one thing to be pushing out that marketing. It's entirely different, though, to be engaging with your customers. So I say, Find your customers on all these social media channels and like them and connect with them and follow them so you can see what's happening in their world. It's one thing for you to push. It's entirely different if I want to increase my relationship and become the trusted advisor to engage with what they're posting. You see, if one of your past clients or someone in your sphere post a beautiful photo, like it and make a comment, right? But when you make that comment, don't say, hey, have you had any thoughts of buying and selling? That would be bad. Just beautiful shot. You know, your daughter looks gorgeous. Congratulations on your son graduating from university. Whatever it may be, these simple little acts of engagement, again, make you the top of mind expert. And that's the goal. Now, let's finish before I give you some homework with a few tools you're going to want to look at and explore to make sure that your business is operating by design. There are two tools that every agent needs to run a business successfully and have it be by design. Number one is you need to make a choice on your database. People sometimes call that a CRM, a contact relationship management tool, or an LMS, a lead management system. There are a wide variety available around the world. The key is to find the one that's right for you. Whether it's the one that's directly associated with your telephone, right? Probably right there on an app, or one that you would buy online that just looks and feels right for you. When you are building a business, one of the most important things you will do is collect all of the information on your customers. You need one place to store their names, their cell phone, their work phone, their home phone, their email personal, email work, their office address, and their home address. And if you're really smart, you'll track spouses' names and children's names and details like their birthday or the anniversary of when they bought their last home, or maybe when their rental lease expires, so I know to follow up. All this information is mission critical to building your business. The more you get that information, the more data you receive, the more you're able to market and connect with them in their model of the world. So, what CRM are you going to use? Get onto Google this afternoon, do some research. Ask around inside your office, what's everyone using? What are the best solutions that Remax recommends so you can build your business by design? The second piece you're going to need is what's called an ESP, an email service provider. And like CRMs, there's a large number of these wonderful email tools that allow you to upload a large number of emails, send out a large number of emails, personalized. So instead of it saying, hey everybody, it says, dear John, hello Mary, and it gives their exact name in the email. Only an email service provider, a software that does specifically that, will allow you to customize your email in a way where it's personal, what I would call me-mail versus just mass email. So do some research. Find the best email service provider that's going to allow you to send customized emails, personalized emails, and most importantly, track and measure response rates. You want to send out that 100 email or that 1,000 emails and know what was your open rate, who opened it and who didn't. Boy, if I knew who opened it, I can then send them another message or even make a phone call. If they never opened it, I know they didn't get that message, and I need to figure out a better strategy to get my marketing message in front of them to make sure that I stay top of mind. So, you got some choices to make as you're building your business. Remember, we started this session by saying, are you interested or committed to your real estate business? Are you interested or are you committed to building a business by design? I know the answer you've made, and as we progress through this 10-week training, there's going to be lots of little decisions and lots of little actions you're going to have to take your business to the next level. So here's your homework assignment for this week. Number one, I want you to remember those stats we discussed earlier, that 89% of consumers like the experience, but only 11% ever listed or worked with that agent again, and that 80% of people go with the very first agent they meet. So the more I stay top of mind, the more I become the trusted advisor for their referrals and their own personal needs. And I want to remember that the average consumer moves every 10 years. And I know I said 7 to 10, and I always go to the worst case scenario, every 7 to 10 years, and that means the more people I put in my database, the more I market to them effectively, the more I bring them value to become the trusted advisor, the more I earn all of those incredible referrals, and the more I earn that customer's business for life. And that's the game. So you've got some decisions to make, and you've got some phone calls to make, and some marketing to do. So stop and write out your plan and get into massive action. I look forward to seeing you next week.